Begin by just positioning yourself in the doorway, holding your ball, grounding your feet, planting them, being aware of your breath. Begin by rolling out and moving the fascia on your face across your frown. Just mobilize, which means push in and move around on the front of your face. Take it to your temple on either side, just loosening the skin on your face. A great big yawn just to loosen your jaw. A lot of tension is locked into our jaws. Some of us gnash our teeth, even involuntarily. Just the front of your ear down to where your lower jaw attaches. Put your fingers in there and mobilize that fascia. There is a trigger point right between the two jaw bones in front of the earlobe. All around there, just move the fascia, milking from behind the ear to the front of the jaw. Take your ball and just rub it gently down the front of your throat, onto your sternum, on either side of the sternum, a little to the right and a little to the left where all of those ribs attach. Just push down with one hand, even two hands if one hand is too light for you, across your clavicle, collarbone. Pop the ball into the palm of your hands and push up against the one side of your neck muscles at the back. Push in, nod your head up and down as you put pressure on that piece of muscle and jiggle it about, loosening any tight bits at the back of the neck. Repeat on the other side. We'll go back once more, just because this is an area where we store an awful lot of tension, because we stick our heads forward in a poking chin posture. So just loosen all of that fascia, all of that musculature at the back of your neck, creating compression, a little bit of movement, and then being very aware of your breath, slowing down, becoming more regular, taking it deeper and lower into the abdomen. Nod the head against the ball and move the skin. Gently pull your ear towards your shoulder so that you can get to your sternocleidomastoid area, which is that triangular from behind the ear down to your clavicle. Just loosening up that area, moving the skin. Dip the ear down to the shoulder just to put it on stretch and rub out the other side. Pop the ball in just above your knees in that fleshy bit of your knee, just awakening already your core line, all part of the same myofascial line. Put your fingers in underneath your ribs, just trying to locate your diaphragm, which lies just behind the ribs there. Just massage the ribs, pushing your fingers in underneath your ribs and expanding your rib cage with your fingertips. Bend over slightly, breathe in up against your fingertips and exhale with a release. Breathe into your abdomen against your fingers. Feel the air in that space and release with an out breath. The diaphragm goes all the way round, attached to the back ribs, just in front of the spine, so we will mobilize that area as well, because breath is very influenced by how our diaphragm is feeling. Pop that ball in under your armpit, along that lateral line of fascia, along under the ribs. There's a whole lot of crisscross fascia underneath and in the intercostal area. So mobilize, rub it out, wake it up all the way around. Armpit, hold, push it down, and rub out those ribs. The whole purpose of this class is to take our breath out of our chest cavity, back into our abdomen. So let's loosen that up. You're going to pop the ball into the lats, just behind where the arm attaches. Use the door for a bit of leverage. Push up against the door. Rotate your body slightly inward and outward, just loosening the lats, just behind the arm there. Once you've got it, begin to move your arm just up. Bring your head home, your chin home. Just rotate that arm while pushing into those lats just behind the armpit. Circle the arms, using your breath in through the nose, out through the nose, taking it as low as you can. Try the other side. Push up against the door. Use the other side of the door for some leverage. Position your feet in an open position and breathe and rotate that arm, loosening up any tight fascia there. Generally there is a trigger point just where everything inserts into the back of the armpit, posterior deltoid and your lats. Just push into that space, rocking your body, rotating it slightly in and out. We're going to target our rhomboids just next to the scapula and our diaphragm at the back. So I just find it easy to pop the ball into my t-shirt so I don't have to keep retrieving it. Remember, we don't really want to push down on bone, but just on the interior edge, on the medial side of that scapula, between the shoulder blade and the spine. Anything along there. Push into the ball. Use your feet, move them a little away from the wall. The further your feet are away from the wall, the more pressure there is. And then just begin to move your arms up and down so that you have compression, you have movement, and you have breath going down into your belly. Jiggle your ball, making it work for you, compressing where you need it most. Hunt down any tight spots that might impinge your breath. Keep your head back. There's a tendency to drop the head, pull it forward. Move the ball to the other side when you feel like you've really loosened something on that side. Again, pushing back, using your feet as leverage in the doorway. Take your arms up and open. Hug yourself, raising your elbows up and over. Take one arm up, one arm down, and 2 and 3 and 4. behind you, and breathe. Use your abdomen. So in breath opens up the front of your body, out breath vacuum packs the front of your body and closes the ribs towards the hip bones in the front of the body. In breath, arch the back. Out breath, tilt the pelvis forward, drop the ribs. At least 2 of those. Take your ball a little lower to where your diaphragm attaches. Jiggle it down and just go side to side, side to side, just waking up the back so that when you breathe diaphragmatically, it moves like a cylinder, popping forward, sideways into the ribs and into the posterior. If you didn't get that breath with the tilt and arch, stop the video, push the ball into any part of the lower back there and repeat that section. This is a really important compression. It's the upper traps that we want to actually target. So it's where your neck attaches to your shoulder. So just that place where you know so much tension builds up. At a door, you get a great positioning. So put the ball on that upper trap, push into the door frame with your head on the other side. It takes a little bit of maneuvering. Bend your knees to really be able to push into the door frame with the legs. And then swing your arm. It's really important also to tilt your chin as if you're looking up to the sky. And then back down at the floor. It's in that neck movement that we really get a good pressure. Then the front of where the pecs attach to the chest, we want 2 spots over there. So again, using the door frame for leverage, push into anything along that hem, using your legs to push in hard, and then to rotate the arm at the back. Thumb up to the ceiling, thumb down to the floor. 2 of those, and then move your ball to a second place somewhere along that line. Make it count for you. Be sure that you're breathing deeply as you push into that second spot. Other side, again, upper traps. Bend the knees, lunge the legs so that you have some strength to push into the door frame. And here is really about moving your face down to the floor and looking up at the sky. Nice and slow while you compress and while you breathe. And then a gentle, loose swinging of your arm. Take that jaw up to the sky, pressing in on that tight upper trap. This is where we hitch our shoulders up in tension. You want to be pushing down into that musculature and that fascia, creating compression. Again, the front line where the pecs attach to the thorax, 2 spots. Use the door frame with your head on the interior. Rotate the arm with the compression and be sure to be taking good, big, deep breaths, assuring your body that this is good for you. Painful, but not harmful. Reposition your ball for your second spot along that hem. where the arm attaches to the torso. Rotate that arm. Thumb up, thumb down, pushing down nice and hard. There's another spot where a lot of tension builds up for me, and that is my psoas. Here I'm using the door frame, and my leg pressure. My foot is pushed into the ground, my glute is activated, and I'm pushing. The spot I need to target is just in front of the hip bones. So just pop it onto the hip, but then bounce it inwards towards your belly button. Anything along there that is tender, just push into it. Breathe. In breath takes you up against that ball. Take the air right down that low, and out breath you just melt. In breath, do 3 or 4 really good breaths up against that ball, pushing into the fascia around the front of the body. The psoas is a very deep muscle, but just moving the fascia in the general area is going to bring some mobilization, some relief, some awareness. Taking your breath into that space where the ball is pressing, and then the other side. So on the hip bone, the other leg is back, the other leg is pushing. So the side that you're working is also the glute that needs to be activated. So jiggle about till you find your position. Push down as deeply as you can without it taking your breath away. Hips are way forward, butt is clenched. You're pushing with your foot. You're leaning into that door frame. You're trying to make that ball take all the pressure. Moving the abdominal fascia, not only in the skin, but the profound fascia, the deep fascia, and hopefully at least touching on your psoas somewhere deep in there. Your breath here is really important because your psoas registers all tension, all trauma. So deeply breathing into the ball and melting over it with an exhale. Position your hands shoulder height apart, clench your butt, feet together, and just lean forward. Be sure not to lead with your chin, but to lead with your chest. Keep your chin at home and just pulse, pulse, pulse into the doorway and relieve. And pulse, 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 gently bouncing through the doorway. Keep the bottom engaged. Keep the breath regular. Keep the chin at home. Don't lead with your chin, lead with your chest, just opening up the chest area in the front. Take your breath with you as wide and as deep as you can, and retract on an exhalation. I invite you to ball up in your fist all the sorrow, all the anxiety, all the uncertainty. Extend your elbow up to the Lord. Release it into the corner of that doorway and pull forward with your breath as wide and deep as you can and as trusting as you can. Release all that anxiety and receive the Lord's comfort. Lean into your arms. Again, all the anxiety, all the uncertainty, all the heartache that is going on globally, and perhaps right in your world, release it. Lean into the Lord, trusting breath, and receive the comfort of the Holy Spirit. Hands behind your head, lean back, breathe in deeply and out. Let's do it again. This time, let's take our fears, roll them up, offer them to God, admit that control is right out of our hands, but we are assured that we can roll all our burdens upon Him because He cares for us. And so we can receive His peace. Hands behind your head, big inhalation into the abdomen. Receive His peace. And exhale. And again, fist as tight as you can. Flex those arms. Elbow up, offer it. Stretch the ribs into that corner and lean forward into that space. Breathing right down into the pelvic floor. And put your hands in behind your head. He is a refuge to us. He is our safe place. And let's do another one. Let's take the sins of omission, sins of commission, offer them to God, confess them, admit them, release them. And He who is faithful to hear our confessions is also faithful to offer us freely His forgiveness. Put your head back into your arms. Breathe in the forgiveness. Finished work of the cross. Drop the head. Pull the neck softly forward. And breathe in again. Everything I should have done and I didn't do, I could have done and I didn't do. All the time I was distracted. All of that, I confess. And I gladly receive the gift of your forgiveness, Lord. Thank you for the blood of your Son. It declares me white, whiter than snow. Exhale and inhale. Let your heart rise in gratitude. Big inhalation and release. That was the door. We're now going to the floor. But if you're going to continue this workout, I invite you just to put one foot in front of the other, pick up your stick, and to pendiculate your body in all kinds of directions, just preparing it to work out forwards and backwards, bending and stretching. Keep adjusting your balance. Pendiculate, great big yawn, full stretch, leaning back into that stick. Up and over and across. to begin with, let's just work on our core line. Tuck your chin in, shoulders back and down. Push your foot into the floor, lifting your toes up, but putting the stick right at the bunion, right at the ball of your big toe, and push through to the heel. This is not a ball, so be careful not to bruise your foot, but you can push fairly hard. The fascia at the bottom of your foot is very strong, as all the meridians run through the sole of your foot. So just lift up your toes, put the stick at the ball of your big toe, and push it through to the heel several times. Be sure that you are not looking down. Your chin is home, your shoulders are back, and your breath is deep and wide. Pick up your stick, pop it down between your big toe and the other 4 toes. Push that stick around, loosening that space between those toes, separating your big toe from your other 4 toes. Repeat on the other side. Sitting down on the floor, the inner thigh is a huge part of your core line, and those adductors can be both tight and weak. So let's loosen up the fascia. Let's press into that with the stick from the groin. Your leg can either be out to the side, or if you can manage with the range, take it behind you so that you have some leverage with your arms and upper body to really push into your thigh. You want to milk it from the groin all the way to the knee with a rowing motion, and even with a jiggling motion. This can be very tender, but I really invite you to push in deeply. There are 4 at least adductors in that zone. So change the angle and change the pressure from the inside hand to the outside hand, just milking it and compressing it deeply and strongly, right the way from the groin through to the knee. Just in front of the knee, there is very often a trigger point. So change the angle till you find that very tender spot, press into it, and breathe. We store a great deal of our anxiety and tension in the inner thigh. It implodes when we are traumatized, taking it with it, the whole core line. So just opening it up, just ministering to it and being aware that this is a place in my body where a lot of tension lies. Try not to hitch the shoulders up, and try and take the breath right down into the abdomen. When you've done the one side, you're welcome to do the other side. Legs straight out to the side, but if you can manage, tuck it in behind you in a bent position. If you've opted not to work with a stick, you're welcome to do this with a ball, but you don't get quite the same result as if you roll it out with a stick. You can also roll the inner thigh out on your roller if you prefer. Find that one spot. Hunt it down, and once you find it, press into it. Find your breath and hold it there. Don't hurry this part of the workout. Make it count for you. We're going to put some strength into the inner thigh. So all of this is just preparation. Sitting down on the floor, position your stick between your two big toes and your knee and thighs. You want to actually engage your inner thigh optimally, so position it so that it creates some proprioception, so that you are pulling your thighs towards each other, engaging your pelvic floor, arms open wide if you can, otherwise in an open T position. And just in that position, I just want you to breathe really hard while you contract your inner thigh with all of your strength. Push into that stick, engaging from the toe right the way through the core line, through the pelvic floor, up into the abdomen, right up to your tongue. So your mouth is relaxed, but you are breathing deeply in and out while you engage that entire core line. Just holding that position in that squeeze is the actual exercise. Then if you can dip your legs away from you, but you maintain contact with your lower back on the floor, so your legs move slightly away, the range is exactly what your back can manage. So your back has to remain pushed down on the floor, pelvis engaged, and you simply move your legs away from your body and towards with an in and an out breath. As you move away, it's an in breath. As you bring them back home, it's an exhalation. You need to be doing a good set of as many, say 8 of those as you can manage. Away, exhale as you bring them in. Keeping the tension between the toes and the knees, holding it tight, 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 engaging that core line all the while, moving your lower limbs. Keep that lower back pushed down hard into the floor, maintaining your core line, the tension. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze with all your strength, maintaining your breath over the squeeze, in and out through the nose, all the way down to the pelvic floor, and bend it down. Well done. Take your stick out, place it next to you, put your hands through the inside, grabbing onto your feet, ankles, pull your feet towards you and open up your knees. Feel the stretch in the exact area, inner thigh adductors where you've been working. Open those knees as wide as you can, pull your feet as close to your body as you can, and breathe. Bring your knees together and hug them. Position yourself on your side with your elbow underneath your shoulder, but be lifted up. Don't be sunk into it. You're going to point and flex your inner thigh, the leg there. That's the adductors that we want to target with a bit of strength. So against gravity, you have to lift that leg up, point at the top, flex at the bottom. Breath in, breath out. 8 of those with a very stiff leg and a very aspressive. And now I want you just to have a soft foot. But again, the inner thigh is facing up to the ceiling. The heel is aimed at the ceiling, and you're isolating that inner thigh. Fold it up over the other leg for a bit of a grip, and then close it in, inner thigh. So bring that bottom knee up and in. It's an up and an in movement. Grip the leg and pull up. Grip the supporting leg and pull up. Each time, exhale on the in, breathe in, exhale, all the air out. Breathe in, exhale. Get a nice rhythm going that is your own. Once you've done 8 of those, you just hold it at the top. Absolute optimum strength. Pull in and hold, hold. Breathe over it with regular breath, but squeeze that inner thigh of the leg that's closest to the floor. In and up is the motion. Breath right into your abdomen. Hold it and release it. Come up, put the soles of your feet together, close to your body, and take the hips forward, shoulders ahead of your hips. Open up the inner thigh and lean forward. Stretching what you've just used. Swing it round to the other side. Same thing, same routine. 8, 8, 8 and 8 holds. So elbow under your shoulder. Extend that bottom leg and ready and up, down, in, out. Keep the heel facing the ceiling. Careful the leg doesn't rotate. And when you've done 8, you have a soft foot. Absolutely soft, soft, soft foot. Inner thigh engaged as you up against gravity. Then you grip the bottom leg and you pull up the knee on an in breath. Sorry, an out breath and an in breath. Out breath closes up. In breath into the belly. Out breath closes up. In breath. Out breath. In breath. Out breath. Fully out. Fully in. Out. Open up the tummy as you in breathe. Close it as you out breathe. And hold this one for 8. Squeeze up and in with the inner thigh fully engaged with the breath over the hold. Squeeze with all your strength. Hold it. Hold it. 5, 6, 7, and 8. Release it down. One more time. Soles of your feet together. Just opening up that inner thigh and leaning forward with a long back. Extend the neck. Breath right to the pelvic floor. Well done. This is your last exercise. Your feet are placed parallel but wider than your shoulders. And you do a slow roll down. Engage your pelvic floor. Lift the arches of your feet. Pull your thighs and knees and ankles towards each other very actively in that position. Pull them together, relax the neck. Be sure that the only tension runs from your toe, through your ankles, up your leg, and bounce into a deep plie, knees over toes. Extend again. Lift up the arch of your foot, but put your toe actively through the floor and pull the entire inner thigh all the way up to the pelvic floor towards each other. Up, 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 up. Engage the pelvic floor by pulling your belly in and release with a deep plie bounce. Low, low, low. Keeping your hands on the floor, let's do a last one. Pull the inner thigh actively together, engaging absolutely every inner thigh muscle you can muster. Breathing in and over it. Neck is totally relaxed. Every bit of strength and energy is in that inner thigh, pulling your core towards itself. And pulsing down at the bottom to release. One more time. On your next out breath, slowly roll yourself up, up, up. Bringing your feet together, pulling your belly button right up against the back, and uncurling your spine, one vertebra at a time. To finish this workout, let's just do that clutch with the hand again, all the tension in the arm. Take the shoulder right up and release it upwards. Push on your supporting leg, push your heel through the floor of that long side. Stabilize yourself well, and then surrender by turning the sternum to the floor. Pull up, 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 plant that heel into the floor. Extend that elbow, open up those ribs, hang over, push with the other arm against the supporting thigh. Pull over and yield as you turn your sternum to the floor and give a generous arm sweep. Well done.